We're live.
Oh, we are. Welcome, everybody. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Penny, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Burns.
Here.
Miss Angeline.
Here.
Ms. Meyer.
Here.
Ms. Meister.
Here.
Mr. Babel.
Here.
Ms. Bolton.
Here.
6 present, we have a quorum. At this point, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes from 10/15/25 as a special council meeting. We give a little time to review those as properly fine. Any questions?
I'll move to accept.
Motion to accept the minutes by Mrs. Bolton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Angeline. Any further discussion? Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns.
Yes.
Miss Angeline.
Yes.
Ms. Meyer.
Yes.
Ms. Meister.
Yes.
Mr. Babel.
Abstained.
And Ms. Bolton.
Yay.
5-1 with 1 abstention. Motion passes. In front of you, you have the pay ordinance 11-2025. And I don't know if you've had the opportunity to look at that, but our fiscal officer is here tonight. So if you have any questions, please direct those questions to her. There are no questions. Do I have a motion to approve pay ordinance 11-2025?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Meister. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Bolton. Any further discussion? Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns.
Yes.
Miss Angeline.
Yes.
Ms. Meyer.
Yes.
Ms. Meister.
Yes.
Mr. Babel.
Yay.
Ms. Bolton.
Yay.
Motion passes 6-0. At this time, it's my honor to introduce Jessica Miranda, Hamilton County Auditor. She's going to be giving us a presentation here tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I'll just move up now. I'll keep it down here. Wait. Good evening. First and foremost, thank you, officials and administrators and employees of the village for allowing me time on your agenda tonight. I know the work that you do is important, so I greatly appreciate the time. You can click it. So I am your county auditor, Jessica Miranda. I wanted to come around and not only introduce myself to the folks here in the village, but we also thought it was very important to get around to every single municipality or political jurisdiction in the county, since we've had quite a few leadership changes in this county administrative office over the past couple of years. So a little bit about me. I'm a former state representative and Ohio House Whip. I served for 5.5 years in the Ohio State House, although I'd like to consider that like 50.5 years in real human years. It's a wild place up there, but I managed to get some good things done while I was up there and worked across party lines to do so. I'm very, very proud of that work. Prior to my time in the State House, I served as a local school board president in my local school district, which is Winton Woods. So all of that to say, I have a robust understanding of the complexities of not only school funding in this state, but local government funding and everything in between. And I bring that service now as your county auditor in this administrative office. So we have decided amongst us in the auditor's office, by the way, this is Willow Lopez, my community engagement coordinator. So you've probably been working with her to get this scheduled this evening. Willow's position is very important and historic in the county auditor's office. We, for the first time ever, have a public affairs department for which she works under and schedules and does all of these things like this beautiful presentation that you're going to see tonight to make our services more accessible to the public and to those of you who serve in government alongside me. I'm also someone who really truly believes in coordination between the different levels of government. So my relationships with local elected officials and the state officials, federal officials, local officials, county administrators, and everywhere in between is very, very important to me. If we can all talk and work amongst ourselves to do the things that are best for our community, that's good government. And good government is a trustworthy government and one that all of our folks deserve here in Hamilton County. So I think this is probably 20 something on our stops, our on the tour, if you will, across the county. We have about 45 political jurisdictions that we're stopping at. So we're a little more than halfway through. So happy to be here in the village of Cleves. I'm going to give you this PowerPoint presentation here on the screen tonight, and then of course open it up for any of you who may have questions afterwards. And also too, you have not only a printout of this presentation that you see, you have our brochure that encloses all of the county's county auditor services that we offer, as well as my business card and the business cards of those in our public affairs department. It's very important to us in the auditor's office to have an open door policy. So please always know if you need anything from me or any of our amazing civil servants on staff, we stand at the ready to serve you. So I'm just going to jump right into it. And if you will, hold your questions for the end of the presentation. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what the auditor's responsibilities are. First and foremost, for those who are not aware, we had our amazing longtime county auditor, who was Dusty Rhodes for 32 years here in the county. And then a year after that, my dear friend Bridget Kelly took over in the county auditor's office and unfortunately lost her battle to cancer. And that's where I came in. I resigned my position in the State House to be appointed in 2024 to now serve as the county auditor. So it's been a little over 2 years now, and we've done some exciting things and have some exciting programs that we administer that maybe you already know about or maybe you don't know about. And that's what a presentation like this is for. So think of your county auditor as the chief financial officer of the county. We pay all of the county's bills. Every department that falls under the Board of County Commissioners, we are paying the bills. We even cut the checks for folks who serve on jury duty. So thank you. If you've done that, you'll probably get a check signed by me for the service fee. We appreciate that. We're also the real property assessor for the county, which means we have about 350,000 parcels or properties, residential, commercial, and industrial across our county. We are the third largest county in the state, and we are the ones charged by state code to evaluate those on the state schedule and make sure our tax base is healthy and operational. And it is actually our statutory duty to appraise at fair market value, or FMV for those in the real estate business. We are also 1/3 of the county's Board of Revision and 1/3 of the county's Budget Commission. And we administer the rental registration program. Fun fact, it is the law here in the state of Ohio that if you are a landlord, you must file what's called a rental registration form within our office. It does not cost anything for you to file it. However, if you get caught red-handed not filing that, there is a $150 fee that we can assess. And we in the auditor's office understand that a lot of local municipalities are starting their own rental registration programs. If you do happen to do that or are already doing that and here in the village, please just make sure you're coordinating with our office so that we can make sure both of our records match and are the same in serving everyone. We also administer 2 property tax relief programs in the auditor's office by state code. The first one is called the homestead exemption. You may have heard of this. This is for folks who are 65 years of age and older and meet the certain income threshold as prescribed by state law. Prior to Governor Kasich coming in office, there used to not be an income threshold for this, so there are several of our community members who were grandfathered in to the new program, but just know that that homestead exemption still needs a lot of work, and I'll need your help in that arena as well. The second one is the owner occupancy credit. So if you live in and own your primary home, you get a 2.5% credit on your property tax liability. So I would encourage everyone to visit our website tonight if you haven't done this already. And anyone that you happen to know, neighbors, family, friends, make sure that they are getting either or both of those tax relief programs that you think that they deserve. And if they are not, because you can clearly see it on the property summary page on our website, please contact our office and we'll get them the proper paperwork to get signed up for that and start seeing relief. Fun fact, we're also the dog licensors of the county. So for anyone who has a canine friend, please know it is also state law to license your dog here in the state of Ohio. We are getting into dog licensing season, which starts December 1st. So if you already have a dog license, it would come to you in the mail to renew. There's also opportunities to buy a permanent dog license, but this is very, very important because I'm sure you all have seen the reports lately of the dangerous dogs and the biting of folks across the county. But it's important not only because it's the law, but if your dog gets away, runs away, gets lost, this is the way we have to get them back to you so that they don't end up at Cincinnati Animal Care. And then perhaps one of my favorite parts of our office is the weights and measures department. I like to refer to this as our consumer protection department of our office. You may notice that when you go to pump gas, you'll see my seal there with my name on it on the gas pump. Or if you go to a local grocery store and you're buying produce or meats and cheeses in the deli, you'll see my sticker or my seal on all of those weights machines as well. Why? Because we are making sure that that pound of turkey that you are purchasing is actually a pound of turkey. We're making sure that that gallon of gas that you're purchasing is actually a gallon of gas and that you're not getting ripped off by the folks selling those products. We have about 5,000 gas pumps across our county. And to my knowledge, there's only one that has a red seal, which means no good. So if you come across that one, don't use that pump, perhaps move over to another one that has a good seal. You can go to the next slide, Justin. Thank you. So with that, I've talked a little bit about what we're doing, especially here on this auditor. We're going around to all of the political jurisdictions to share this very presentation, kind of open the door for working across different levels of government. We're also doing something very exciting that I'm really happy to tell you all tonight, because the winner of the first annual Top Dog program that we run here in the county is at Three Rivers Elementary. So we're going to be at Three Rivers in the beginning of December. We have decided to, in order to get folks signing up for dog licenses, because there's not enough folks getting their dog license, we're going to do some awareness around it with our kids, so that hopefully by the time they get old enough to know to get a dog license, they'll know that it is the law and they need to do it. So we approached fourth grade classrooms. Three Rivers was probably one of the first ones to reply. And the teachers there worked it into their curriculum for the kids to write essays about why they think their dog should be the top dog in the county. And so we purchased really cool golden dog licenses. So the winner at Three Rivers Elementary will get that in the beginning of December. So all in an effort to put more awareness around the dog licensing program and why that's important here for our county and certainly for our state. Slide, thank you, Justin. So we, of course, serve the community, but we certainly do not do it all. We are, of course, not the only county elected office here in Hamilton County. So we do not collect property taxes. That's the county treasurer, Jill Schiller. We do not manage deeds. That's our county recorder, Scott Crawley. We do not provide surveys or maps outside of the maps that are located on our website. That's our county engineer, Mr. Beck. And we certainly do not make abatement or tax policy. That is all of you fine elected officials here in the village, of course, coupled with our state lawmakers who serve us in the state capitol. Slide, Justin. Thank you. So here in the auditor's office, we work in values, not taxes. I won't read this entire slide to you since you have it there in front of you, but suffice it to say that just because your home value goes up or down 5%, that does not mean that your property tax liability is going to go up or down 5% and follow. Property taxes is a very complex equation or formula that takes into consideration all of the levies passed in your area, as well as reduction factors and the tax rate set by your county and your state. So we like to express this because we know there's been a lot of disinformation out in the community as of late for the valuation process that we are required to do by the state of Ohio, and what may be causing those property tax issues that we're seeing in our state. Next slide, Justin. Thank you. And with that, just to back up that fact there for you, I provided you with a 3-area comparison. So we took a parcel, and by the way, parcel just means a property. So this is a house, a residential home. We found one that is the same value, very close value across the county in 3 different areas. And so you'll see that first one, that is a house, $236,000 value, located in the city of Cincinnati. The property taxes they pay is a little over $5,000. That second one is the same valued home located in Green Township. The property taxes they pay is a little over $4,000. And then that last one, of course, is a home, $236,000 value roughly, in the city of Sharonville, and they pay a little over $3,000 for their property taxes. So this is an effort to illuminate and make very, very transparent that everyone's property taxes are different across the county, and it is completely dependent upon what levies are passed in your area, what that tax rate is, and what the state is assigning to your property value with all of the exemptions or not that you may or may not be getting on your property.
And what school district do you live in?
Right, that too.
Mhm.
We'll get to that in just a
Okay.
few slides. So a little bit more about our reappraisal process. You've heard me mention a few times in this presentation that we are required by state code to appraise all properties at fair market value here in our county. And again, we have about 350,000 properties in our county, which is what makes us the third largest county in the state. So just know that we are coming up on our triennial valuation that happens next year in 2026. This is a mild review, if you will. It is a desktop review based solely upon comparable sales in your area. So that one's the next one coming up. We just went through in 2023 the mass reappraisal that happens every 6 years. And by the way, you all probably know this, but there's 88 counties in the state of Ohio. We're all not doing this at the same time. It is a staggered reappraisal process. That way, not every county in the state is doing their mass reappraisal at the same time. That would be too much for the state tax department to handle, I'm afraid. So we only go a couple of us at a time. But here in Hamilton County, the last time we did our mass reappraisal was in 2023. We're coming up on our triennial, which is every 3 years. That's in 2026. And then, of course, just know that the work truly never stops in our real estate, residential, and commercial departments. Our appraisers and property assessors are assigning value to property every year based on permits that have been pulled, new construction developments in different areas. So that work continually happens. Next one. So a pretty big announcement that we have, hopefully you all have seen it. We have completely changed the homepage of our website. Our website, shout out to one of my predecessors, Mr. Dusty Rhodes. Dusty was very innovative and light years ahead of other auditors in the state in his time. No auditor back in 1992 really had a website, and Dusty brought online our website, which I truly consider the gold standard across the state of Ohio. In fact, we get comments all of the time comparing our website to our neighboring counties and other places across Ohio. And it's always positive feedback, and we love that positive feedback. So we changed the website, but we're very intentional about that change. So you'll notice the property search function or button is relatively in the same place that it was before. So all of this was intentional to try not to disrupt our normal users on a day-to-day basis. But we think it looks great. It's definitely brought into 2025, and it is now compliant, with federal law. So you may know that in 2026, all government websites have to be 100% accessible to users. So if you'll notice down there in that corner, that little person or that human body, that's our new accessibility plugin. You can click on that button and it can change our website into numerous different dyslexia fonts, numerous different ways in which folks who are colorblind can read the website better, and it is completely accessible for those that need it, which is really cool. We also have added a translation button. This is important because we have a little bit over 120,000 unique users to our website every month, and they come from over 100 different countries, folks that are using our website. So this translation tool is there and available now for use. And then I know it's not the most attractive change and doesn't seem like much, but we now have a search bar, and that has turned out to be much more helpful than you would think. You can literally type in anything you're looking for on our website, and it'll bring it up everywhere that shows on our website, which has been very, very helpful. But other than that, all of the functions are the same. All of the same information is there. And Justin, if you go ahead and click on the next slide for me. Another page on our website that we have updated is our board revision page. We have done numerous updates to this page. This was actually the first page that we tackled before we even did the whole page. When I was appointed to the auditor's office, it was mid-2024, right in the heat of the board revision cases after the last mass reappraisal in 2023. And so we found that this page needed tackled first and immediately. And so we did just that. Not only do we have a 3-part video series that's now available on this page to explain what the Board of Revision is, what it is not, and what we can do for you in the auditor's office and what we cannot do, because it is a quasi-judicial process. If you scroll down on this page, if you get a chance to look at it on your own time, you'll see that there is a long list of question and answers, drop-down menus, and my favorite addition that we've added to this website is that if you click to print out or fill out a complaint form and file a board revision case, there will be a pop-up button that pops up and says, did you read the directions? And then you have to click yes or no, and then it'll let you through to the complaint page, which we found to be so helpful in addressing folks' needs and what they need to learn about filing their case. Next slide, Justin. And so with that, we still have, of course, the property search function on our website for all properties in the county. This is what that landing page looks like for any given property here in the county. And Justin, if you go ahead to that next slide. This is probably the most important part. Again, one of my favorite things that we do in the auditor's office is we make for you and everyone in Hamilton County 100% transparent property tax liabilities or property tax, beautiful colored pie graphs here, if you will. So you can click on the tax detail button on any person's property here in the county, and you'll be presented with this pie graph and all of the information on top of the graph. But this colorful graph is important because it breaks down to the penny where your property tax dollars are going. And again, as I said at the top of my presentation, a transparent and accountable government is a good government, and therefore is a trustworthy government. So we really love this function of our website, and anyone can check their own property here. The one thing I will point out on this page is you'll always notice the largest portion of that pie graph is school funding. It goes to your local public school. Why? Because school funding is still unconstitutional here in the great state of Ohio. The lawmakers had the divine opportunity to fix that, and they abandoned the third phase, of the Fair School Funding Plan. And so now we're right back at square one, and school districts still have to come out to their community and ask for levies because they're not getting what they need from the state. So until the state lawmakers step up and fix that, I'm afraid that's always going to be the largest portion of that pie graph that you'll see reported on your property tax liability bill. Next slide, Justin. Okay, a little bit more about the rental registration. So are you obligated to file? Yes, it is the law here in the state of Ohio. Really quickly, does the village have their own program for rental registration? Okay, so anytime you have any questions on any of those properties, need our help, you found someone who didn't file one and you want to make sure they file one, please contact with us. We'll work with you to make sure we get them filed properly. Because like I said, we don't charge a fee for it, but if we do find out that it's not filed properly, there is a penalty that we can charge for it. And we want to make sure that's up to date. And this is important for folks watching at home and all of you here on the dais, because we sent out a press release at the end of the year 2024. We noticed more than once here in our county that there were some scammers out in the community collecting not only the first month's rent, but the security deposit on properties that they claimed to be the landlord of, and fleeced those consumers of their money, and they did not get it back. So there's an easy way to find out if the property that you are looking into renting is actually a rental property, and it exists on our website. On that property summary that we showed a few slides ago, it will clearly say yes or no if that property is a rentable property. And you can actually click on it. It's a hyperlink if it is a rented property. And you can pull up the landlord information, phone number, and all that jazz. So folks can check to make sure that they're not getting taken advantage of. But it is a really important program here in the state of Ohio that we've got to keep reinforcing in our own communities and countywide. So thank you for doing that work you do. Next one. All right, the last couple slides, I want to talk to you a little bit about the homestead exemption. The homestead exemption, just as a reminder, is of course one of the 2 property tax relief programs that we have the authority to administer here in our great county. Again, the homestead exemption was meant for folks 65 and older, and when it was invented, we did not have an income cap on it. We unfortunately now do have an income cap on it, and that keeps a lot of our senior citizens away from or benefiting from this program. This program, unfortunately, has lost its luster. It doesn't carry the necessary bang for its buck that it did when it started. And this is the number one issue that the County Auditors Association has been advocating for for probably the last decade or longer at the State House. So we have been in the halls of the State House. We have given hours upon hours of testimony to our fine state lawmakers in both the House chamber and the Senate chamber to try to implore them to do something, anything, to make this homestead exemption maybe what it once was, or at least index it for inflation, or index it to the value in which home values are rising, to help us help our community that needs it most. And Justin, you can go ahead to the next slide. And so as you can see here, I mentioned it's lost its luster. This is a beautiful example. Back in 2014, a little over a decade ago, the average home value was $155,000. Folks with that value of a home were saving $565 off their property tax bill. Cut to 2024, and home prices have increased, or home values have increased 69%, and that homestead exemption has only increased 7.4%. It's out of whack. It is not in line with the kind of help that our seniors need. And for that reason and so much more, this is literally the number one pillar of the 4 pillars in which we advocate for as an association at the state to fix these programs so that they're getting to the folks who need it the most, which is our seniors. And Justin, you can go ahead to the next slide. So I don't have to stand here and tell you why our senior citizens are important to our communities. You all know all of those reasons there up next to each arrow, but our seniors are pillars of our communities. They are folks that we want to keep in their home should they wish to stay in their home. And for that reason, that is why we need a better homestead exemption to meet the needs of our seniors. And certainly, I'm sure we all could agree that it could use some work. The homestead exemption needs to be better. So while I'm here, I thought I'd take the opportunity to ask you to help me help you. Contact your state representative, your state senator, heck, even the governor, because the governor just recently wrapped up a property tax reform committee that was led by none other than my former colleague, former Majority Floor Leader Bill Seitz here from the West Side, as well as one of our county commissioners, Denise Streethouse, who served on there. They released a report of a lot of things that need to be tackled and worked on at the state level to fix the property tax issue here in Ohio. Unfortunately, the state lawmakers have not passed anything close to what is needed in that proposal. So if you would, please help me help you. Contact your state elected officials, impress upon them how important this is, how important our seniors are to our communities, and if they're going to do anything at all, please do something about the homestead exemption so that our county auditor offices like mine here in Hamilton County can reach more people and give them the bang for their buck that this homestead exemption once was. Next slide, Justin. And then a little bit more about the owner occupancy credit. Again, I won't read this entire slide to you because you have it in front of you, but during the closing of anyone's home purchase, it will be clearly marked to our transfer department whether or not that's going to be their primary home. And if so, they will automatically receive a 2.5% credit on their tax liability. Again, please check your property, your friends' properties, your family's, friends, if that is their only home that they occupy 100% of the time, make sure that they're receiving this. If they are not, please contact our office immediately and we'll make sure we get the proper paperwork filled out to make sure everyone is benefiting from one of the two or both of these property tax relief programs already in law here in Ohio. And next one. All right, so this may look like any closing slide you've seen on any PowerPoint presentation before. But I'm happy to not only share with you that it is historic that the first top dog in the county will be from 3 Rivers here in your village, but it's also historic that you see social media links up there for our office. Our office has never had social media presence, so we now have 4 platforms, if you will, of social media that we are on. We are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and every video that can be found on our website can also be found on our YouTube page. This is important because we know here in the year 2025, people access information in many different ways. Social media is one of those ways that they access their information. And so we're posting as much as we can to all of those platforms to get the word out about the various programs we offer in our office and so much more. So again, website is hamiltoncountyauditor.org or hcauditor.org. And I thank you once again for having me on your agenda tonight. Thank you so much for allowing me some time during your important work that you have here in the village. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions you may have, and then I'll get out of your hair. Yes, Council.
I want to make a statement first. I live in subdivision Westgate, and we had the tax levy. And it passed, thank God. The people in Cleves, I praise you for coming out and voting like you did and passing out the. But one thing that I noticed, somebody on the Facebook page asked the day after how much their taxes went up. And I went on your website, looked up my address the day after. We're talking like at 8 o'clock in the morning, the day after, and my new tax amount was already on your website. So I want to thank you for already doing those calculations that fast for the citizens of Cleves. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. And
So,
I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah,
I will,
that's,
before I forget, I'll take the opportunity to remind everyone who's watching and everyone in the room that we put levy estimators up for every election. So just to remind folks to be civically engaged, there's an election every year, sometimes multiple times a year. And if there is a levy on your ballot, you can find how much that will cost you on our website.
the next question I have for you is property values. So looking at the handout here, you can't you can't ask for an adjustment until the first of the year.
For the board revision, yes, the board revision window is open January 1st of any given year to March 31st.
Okay. So if
So
we're
it's that
looking
3-month
to,
window.
we're looking for a reduction in property tax, that's.
Yes, that's the window. So make sure you log on to our website, the complaint form or the form to file, that BOR case is right there. They're also, if folks in the community are not as tech savvy, they're available in print at our office downtown as well, or they can call us and we'll mail it to them as well.
Okay, the question I have is, we, over here on Mount Nebo, which is right down here, we just had an electrical substation put in,
Okay,
and we're talking 1, 2, 3, 8 houses. Now, do all 8 of those houses have to apply? Because this power substation is right there.
you can apply for the BOR process.
Liz?
You can apply for the board revision process.
Right.
To clarify your question, yes, each homeowner or property owner has the sole responsibility to file that case on their own property. You cannot file a board revision case on someone else's property.
Okay.
State law changed on that.
So,
Years ago.
as a council member, I can't bring it to the attention for the benefit of this group of houses.
I don't want to tell you what you can do in your capacity as an elected official of this fine village, but you cannot file a board revision case for them. The homeowner has to.
Okay.
And then, of course, the onus and the responsibility is on that property owner to bring in the sufficient evidence and everything else to file that case.
All right.
Because again, BOR is a quasi-judicial process. There's 3 elected officials that sit on there. And so I can't talk too much legally about it, but all of the information is on our website.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Yes.
I have a couple questions. The occupancy credit. You said 100% occupancy. So if someone is a snowbird and they spend 6 months up here in Hamilton County in the summer, spring and summer, but they're in Florida for the winter, do they not qualify then because they're not here 100% of the time?
As long as it's their primary residence and you have to fill out that application sufficiently.
So if they switch to Florida so they can vote and whatever from Florida, then it's not considered their primary, no matter how much time they
I don't think
spend.
that would qualify, no.
Okay.
But again, have them contact our office and our transfer homestead / owner occupancy department will help them answer those questions.
The other question is about the homestead.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how many homeowners, senior homeowners, actually do not qualify anymore because of the new cap on income? Do you know what percentage that
We
is?
used to have that slide actually in the presentation. These are not exact numbers, so don't quote me. I can get you the exact numbers and email you afterwards.
Because I do not qualify.
But
I looked it up and I do not, which I'm lucky.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that,
Yeah.
but
But we used to have, prior to the decade ago change that instilled or installed,
cabs.
if you will, the cab. There were a little over 14,000 applications approved here in Hamilton County. Now, there's a little over 2,000.
So it could just qualified a lot of people.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's why it was done.
Yeah, which is why I need you to contact your state lawmakers
Okay,
and help me help you.
I
save
just wondered what that percentage was.
Yeah, and again, not exact numbers. I'm giving you a roundabout of thousands. I know it was in, but I can certainly.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question and furthers, the point that I'm trying to make about the homestead.
Right, that's why I wondered.
Yeah. Any other questions, council folks, mayor? Administration? All right. Well, thank you again, mayor and council folks, for having me. Greatly appreciate the time on your agenda, and contact me anytime. My card is on the table. Thank you. Oh, this person is gonna wear my coat, that way nobody tips on it. Gonna put this back in there while you have that open. Yeah, you will. Yes. Have a good evening.
The Rockford State of Ohio, is that
Yes.
still the same court case?
Yes.
So, for that, I've been in high school, and actually, yeah.
That's a
Ohio truly is.
Yes. And then also, Terry Golden, working as a lawyer, so she was. Yeah.
I guess.
I have it.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, I do,
Yes, yes. Good to know all. Thanks. Have a good night. Have a great rest of your evening. Thank you.
Our next session is public comment, feedback. Speakers must register with those folks prior to the podium. The goals of please value community input and encourage participation. While we welcome and ask for viewpoints, we ask that all comments remain respectful of disruptive behavior. Our goal is to maintain a constructive and professional environment. We thank you for your cooperation. Darlene, I know you've already asked. Would you come forward and tell us your topic for the city?
My name is Darlene West, and I am the location coordinator for the Race Across America campaign here in Piney Township. For the 6th year, I'm here to thank you for your support over the last 6 years. We started this program with the hopes of honoring veterans who were buried at Maple Grove Cemetery. Our first year, I think we had a goal, Cindy, of 700 wreaths. I checked the website this morning, and we are at 1,347 wreaths. Our goal is 1,400. That will more than cover all of the veterans and first responders buried at Maple Grove Cemetery, along with those at Congress Green, leaving wreaths at William Henry Harrison's tomb, and taking care of the cemetery that's on Zion Road. So I'm here to thank you for your support over the years. I'm also here to invite you to participate in the program if you have the opportunity. December 13th, we will meet at William Henry Harrison's tomb at 10:45 for a short ceremony. We are very honored to have a president that we can honor as a veteran. There aren't that many communities in the country that are able to do that. We'll then proceed to Maple Grove Cemetery, where this program will begin at 12 o'clock. It's become quite a community tradition, and it's thanks to you who have let me spread the word through meetings and things like this. We have the scouts who participate. The Taylor High School Senior Choir is there with us. The JROTC Color Guard from Diamond Oaks has all Taylor students as the color guard for that day. We use various church ministries to help spread the word with an invocation and benediction. We have families who have made this a purpose every year. It's a wonderful way to teach children the value of people in their community when you figure that 1% of our entire population has ever served as a member of the military. To be able to honor our veterans is very important. So on December 13th at 12 o'clock, we would love to have you come join us. The ceremony lasts about 45 minutes, rain or shine or snow, and we've had them all. So I thank you for your support over the years. I do know that Penny has a little, paper that she has posted on your website the last few years. It has our QR code. That means that if you use that particular code, it will come directly to us so that we know the police will go to Mary Rose. But I want to thank you for your support. I hope you can join us on the 13th, and I appreciate all that you've done for us in the past.
There you go. Eddie, you still have that QR code?
Yes, it's right outside.
Make sure I get it. I'll put it on tonight.
And I don't mean to be rude, but.
I need to go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jason, I think you want to talk tonight? Richard comes right after you.
Okay, I don't want you to go to, you're out of here for a full day and come back. Hi, everybody, I'm Miss Mary, how are you? Jason Lane, Iconic Homes, was just here to update everybody on the progress that we've made with our residential and commercial developments in the village of Cleves and adjacent areas. So, recently, I have actually completed the acquisition of properties on South Miami, College Street, Mr. Tisch. We do have those complete. We are working with the architects to define our plan and our strategy for renovating the areas at one South Miami, 102 Kramer, and then we'll be working across the street at 230 South Miami, and eventually up the hill to 231 College Street. We are actively building new homes in Miami Township on Runsman Way. If you guys have had the opportunity to go to Home Depot and see that, you can kind of see our products. We will be working in the village of North Bend also. We have a couple projects that we're working with the village there as well. And the idea is to build continuity in this area so that we have active traffic throughout North Bend, Miami Township, and the Cleves areas. We will be building again more residential, but we are going to start focusing on the commercial after we finish these homes up on Run. So any questions you guys might have, I'll make sure to let you know about any of these updates and anything that you guys want to know. We're happy to share with you.
You know, when we're starting those commercial projects on Miami.
It's really, and thank you for asking, because it's really going to depend on council. I really want to see what our interest is here. We've had a tremendous amount of support from Justin and Ed on getting these projects launched. You know, there are some challenges with those areas. I'm working hard to clean those up right now as they stand, but I do want to bring these buildings down, and I want to bring in nicer buildings to take their place and kind of revitalize the main street inside of Cleves and kind of disconnect it from 50 a little bit. That's the concept that we're building. Initially, we were going to go with a 2-story building. I feel like that would impose upon the neighbors a little bit. So instead, we are going to do a 1-story, high ceilings, and this will be a very family-friendly bar and grill. And it will have a lot of outdoor space and some things to keep it off of 50, like concrete partitions and fencing to delineate it from Route 50 and keep it safe as well on people in the back of there. Something that could happen. So too close a proximity to 50, you know.
Are the homes, are they single family homes? Are they?
Yes, so we only do single family homes. We have some projects that we're working on in the city, but nothing here we have planned to be anything but single family residential.
How many do you have going on Brunswick Way?
5.
5.
So 5, we have 6 lots on Brunsman. We were going to build 5. We have 2 out of the ground. They're both framed and have windows. The first one's through most of the inspections. The auditor left, so I'll say talk a little bit, but on camera.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, she's gonna watch that too.
I don't care, but
Yeah,
their camera's going.
Linda's gonna go on. But yeah, it's
Specifically, so council can hear, you talked about a lot will depend on council. Maybe be more definitive as to what that means.
yeah, I think that, you know, we are taking a lot of financial risk with the acquisition of these properties. We are certainly doing a lot to try to build continuity between the villages. Again, you know, I don't want to single them out, but Justin's been great for us to try to help negotiate opportunities. I know that we just got a grant approved for, you know, streetscapes, things like that. Those are going to be critical for the success of these programs because we are going to be building multiple commercial spaces And the urban planning that we're actually doing with open architecture, we're literally going to hand you a coordinated plan of what we think this street should look like. And it's going to involve council to vote on some things to build some continuity between these businesses. There's a lot of great businesses that are already here that really just don't get the traffic because there's nothing that builds in continuity with it. So the idea with this library coming in is we want to build some coffee shops and retail spaces. Next to that, that would be something that a family could come down and do in the summertime and just keep people in Cleves, dine in Cleves, shop in Cleves. Conceptually, that's what we're trying to build out. And again, working in parallel with the neighboring villages and townships, we feel like it's very feasible. This isn't an effort that hasn't been concerted. We've been working on this for several years now. So we're just trying to tie it all together and really try to be the bridge between the villages and the township.
This is a follow-up question from the standpoint of the future of this village. We're looking at our village being one that will become a destination place for people to come to. You've been investing throughout Cincinnati, other areas. Could you maybe give some insight as to the benefits of seeing the different towns or townships or different, what does it draw to those areas?
Yeah, I think the geography, with the proximity to 50, it sounds simplified, but really, we're on a main state route and we are between a lot of affluent neighborhoods. You have a lot of people from Green Township, Delhi, Westwood, Cleves, North Bend, everybody needs places to go. And I don't think it is a whole, the West Side has done a fantastic job at facilitating that. And if you really look around, there's some wonderful places, but there's really not, again, that continuity in it where you can go from one place to another. If a place is crowded, you got to get in your car and you got to go somewhere else. We're trying to alleviate that concern where you can bring a whole family down, you can walk the street. This is a historical area. And because of that, you do have the row home style houses. You have, again, the row shops. So the proximity from one building to another is very minimal. So you can build conceptually things that you see in Marymount and Milford because this is the same timeline. And that's really what we're trying to build in. So I think the geography is really wonderful, right? Harrison, Ohio, people are traveling across here, through here to go to the city of Cincinnati and vice versa. And then again, we have all these neighboring townships, municipalities up the hill. This is a fantastic location. We just need to continue to invest into it. And again, we're helping ourselves out. We're building you a bunch of residential homes in North Bend and Cleves. So we're going to have at least 12 homes that we know of that we're essentially contracted to do at this point. So we're going to be building in some new homes, and we haven't stopped our effort to buy some of the homes that have become dilapidated, ran down, and try to rebuild those and redevelop that. So we are trying to build out new opportunities for middle class families and alike to come into the facility and have a wonderful distribution of socioeconomics and everything else. Comes with all of this.
There's one other thing, and that deals with zoning. Okay, because I'm not going to talk about it tonight, my mayor's report, but I know Justin's well aware of it. And we've gone through a rather extensive process as far as doing our zoning with investment in mind. That's one of the things we're looking at. How important to you, okay, zoning wise, is having the cooperation of this village? If there were certain things you would like to see the council consider, are there some things that you would ask for us to put on our agenda?
It's critical. It's absolutely critical. Yeah, we will have there right now. The zoning is favorable for what we're trying to do, but yeah, it will certainly be beneficial as we continue to scale this project out to have your support on that. And it really is just kind of cutting through some of the red tape and again, just acknowledging the efforts that we're putting into it. And we're not expecting a one-to-one, but we'd love to have support and just approvals of things that we're doing. And, we will bring everything to you. We'll be extremely transparent. We're not looking to displace anybody. Actually, that's a big part of what I'm trying to do now. The timeline is to be transparent with everybody. Is I do not necessarily want to move anybody out of their home without having another place for them to go. So acquiring other properties so that we can reallocate these folks. relocate these folks would be phenomenal. So we're looking for opportunities to buy new properties that we can rehab and develop and then put those families in there. And then again, it's a property that we are comfortable having our names on. I can't say that I'm in that position right now, but that's something that I want to continue to do.
Well, I want to thank you, Jason. We were awarded the Hamilton County Mini Planning Grant. I know that I sent that to council members, for the audience. That Mini Planning Grant is really, it's going to help with outlining our vision, streetscaping, walkability, facades, and just really how we put this whole puzzle together. Give us a roadmap to how we're going to go about the revitalization district. We were one of 2 communities that were awarded that grant. And so Jason will be a part of that. Iconic Homes will. And really, I just want to thank you. I don't think we would have received that if it weren't for our partnership and work. If it weren't for us being able to demonstrate that we have over $14 million in pledged investments in our business corridor, I don't know that our award would have been given. So thank you for your partnership.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time to do that. Again, it kind of shows it does absolutely shows your commitment to this as well. So I thank you all very much for this. And I appreciate, just the openness. We don't always receive this when we walk into a council meeting, but I think everybody here sees a greater good and wants you to know you have our full investment into this. Okay. Anything?
I just wonder, you mentioned your architects are getting to work. Some on individual properties, the residential ones that you're working on now, or are you?
No, across the board. So I'm using the same architecture. So we do all of our site planning in coordination with itself. So yeah, this is a very large project. We're actually looking at the urban development aspect of it. And the social, it's kind of tough to talk about this sometimes, but like there's actual like social engineering associated with this, right? So we're looking to see how to keep people down, what businesses go where, what the facades should look like, where to put certain things, because we will have a blank canvas in some regards. So yeah, we're going to have multiple proposals and just see what fits the desires of this council and this village.
Well, as you're going through that process, because it sounds like you're going to do some work for us, great. But you mentioned great geography, and one place where we kind of have poor geography is we have a one road town. I noticed when I tried to put on a parade, and there's no place to dump people down the and actually the best we have for parking is a couple of lots that used to be a house or 2. So I wonder you don't have to have an answer. I want you guys, as you go through that process, to be aware of that restriction that has inhibited a lot of, it's two-faced. It's parking and there's only one road. So you can't have a block system and do the things you would do there and go down this alley to go to that bar and such and such. And even for the Dora idea, it's a unique circumstance. I've not seen any other place that's restricted to their one main drag. So I would have you consider that. And if you're talking about kind of suburban draw, if you're trying to pull from 5 wealthy neighborhoods or something like that, or cross traffic from Harrison or something like that, then it is inherently automobile traffic. And the way the development has gone that I've seen, take like a Mason or something like that, you're going to pave a huge area, you're going to have parking for each spot, and we don't have that as a resource, really. We might have something more like a Chevy or like a old Harrison, where you can have like 1 or 2 public lots and distribute from there, and then walk from there. But I would really hope that you would give us careful consideration of those constraints as you do that. Since you're just starting, I presume, I just want to give you that input.
Well, that's a great point. That's where the mini planning grant comes in. What's the increase on on-street parking, the herringbone parking, if we bring that in? We are going to talk about a city lot. Township has one currently. Can that be shared? A lot, city lot. This is really what the scope of that grant's going to cover. So not to steal from you, but kind of talk about what, that's where the grant is really going to, help us as we plan.
And again, the distribution of the traffic, we want this to be walkable. We want people to be able to come. This is supposed to support the local residents, and it's supposed to be it's something that would support community across the board. But yeah, we've acquired properties specifically for what you're speaking about. We do understand that that's a constraint, and that was considered at the very beginning of this project. But no, those are really good points. I think once we look through all the plans together, I think we probably answer a few of those questions. I think you'd be impressed with what we've gone with.
You've already been thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we understand that that's a real constraint. We made sure that we were conscious of that before. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Anything else? Okay.
Have a good night.
I just want to get ready for that sign. I don't want to be forget. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is there anything else out in the audience? Not? Introduce
Yes.
on the agenda, but we need to get them there.
Yep. My apologies. I think we should probably put him before our old new business moving forward.
Yeah, we think so. All right.
So, Sergeant Schmee, I know the safety committee's met, Jason, but for anybody that hasn't, this is Sergeant Schmee. That's the sheriff's office has to offer.
Oh, wow. Setting the bar high.
No, he's been great. You know, Sergeant Carney did a good job for us, and Jason has come in and said, how can I do it better? So, whether that's just the reports that he provides us, intel, things like that. He doesn't work on Monday through Friday in Cleves like Sergeant Carney did. He rotates 12-hour shifts, but he's been great. He answers my calls and texts, even when he's off, so thank you for that. I did share the report with the safety committee today. Moving forward, we'll try to get that a little bit earlier out to you, but he did make some changes just yesterday when we spoke. The delay's probably on my end, not his, but Sergeant, if you want to stand up here and just give your report, and if there's any questions.
Sure.
Introduction, my name is Jason Schmee, Sergeant with the Enforcement Division in the Sheriff's Office. I'm the liaison for the Village of Cleves. And thank you for your kind words, Joe. I think it's been nice working with you so far.
So far. So far.
It's been a couple
He's
years.
been,
It's been a couple years.
he's been behaving.
I don't think there's gonna be any
I don't think so.
change in things. I'm gonna dive right in. This is for during this reporting period of October 2025. There were 172 calls for service, bringing the total calls to service for the year to date to 1,248. There were 90 non-billable calls for service, the 819 year-to-date total. The dispatch history spreadsheet, including the call signs of the responding units, has been provided to the committee before the meeting for better review. If you care to look through that. The average response time was 7 minutes to each call. The average time on scene was 20 minutes for each officer. The incident reports for this time period were 8. We had 18 incident reports, including 6 non-criminal incident reports. It's funny when you're typing these up, it's not like a fluid word. You gotta like reread your bullet points. I'm still new to it. Reports were taken for psychiatric emergencies, found property, two fire department responses for fires on West Mill Court in North Miami for the utility pole. Those will be our non-criminal incident reports. During the same period, there were 12 criminal incident reports, 4 theft, 2 B&E, 1 assault, 1 protection order violation, 1 domestic violence, 1 overdose, 1 dog bite, and 1 threat report. There are 4 cases currently assigned to detectives for investigation during this reporting period, including 2 B&Es and 2 of the theft reports taken. 2 of the thefts were closed with the victim refusing to prosecute. The assault was closed with an arrest of a juvenile. Protection order violation report was closed with an arrest of an adult. The domestic violence report was closed with the arrest of an adult. The overdose is considered a criminal report, but there are no charges in the Sunshine Law. So they have 3 of those. The dog bite was a citation issued. There were 7 arrests, 1 for assault, DV, including a minor misdemeanor citation, protection order violation, and other warrants for arrest. There are 73 proactive details made by the officers in this area. Field initiated investigations, which just means they go out on something, they see something suspicious, directed patrols where they've been advised by me or another sergeant or lieutenant on something that we want them to go check out, and places found open. This is our night shift guys, and they do a good job. And they go around pulling on doors. You know, if it's a slow night, pull on doors. We find a lot of places open. We encourage everybody to let us know the night numbers to call. You know what, typically have a key holder come out and turn the alarm off, something like that. Traffic report, 3 crash reports during this time period. There were no injuries. That's always good. 16 traffic stops conducted, 14 warnings, and 2 citations. I know one thing we asked for was where they were at. So Lower River Road in Mount Nebo. But I think that's a record error on that, because those don't actually intersect. But once again, so okay, I think what they're talking about is there must be someone who lives in the city who did this. So it's River Road in Mount Nebo, River Road in Cooper. So and to move into the city of Cincinnati, it's called River Road. Here it's US 50. So US 50 in Cooper, US 50 in Mount Nebo.
Those speeding violations.
So I don't have what they were for. I know that that was something that was told on me, but I will find out. Update you with that. I don't have the time. Recent critical incidents and events. There were 2 mentioned on the last report that I gave you, including an inducing panic report at Taylor Middle School. Yes, that was unfounded. We received a call, received a phone call to call a father. He was reporting his daughter came home from school and stated that there was going to be a shooting at Taylor Middle School on the Wednesday following October 1st. Corporal Bever and Deputy Buckmeyer conducted an interview with the daughter and other students. Arrests were found to be unfounded. Our CIS detectives were advised, the SRO was advised, and following the investigation, it's confirmed to be unfounded. And we did maintain a presence with Mark Creek at the school while opening. The B&E at 1 Henderson Cooper Road, in the park, that was on October 8th. Sheriff responded to Cleves Community Park for the snack shack, which had been vandalized with metal pole that was used to breach the exterior. The unknown perpetrator then made entry through one of the many manufacturing crevices, located the cash box, and took $20 worth of coins. Photographed, obviously, contacted CIS. In that case, it's currently still open and being investigated by CIS. There was a nearby critical incident, was not in Cleves, so notifications weren't sent out. We talked about this, Justin. The fatal auto accident, unfortunately happened on 10/14, at 8:15 p.m. A white Acura, struck him. Well, we do have it right now, but he struck a pedestrian crossing the road. US 50 was shut down from 128 to Cooper Road for an extended period of time. So unfortunate. So there was one question you asked Justin recently on 11/1, the date that we found out about the failure to comply. One of our deputies attempted to stop a red 2000 Chevy Monte Carlo on US 50 at Mount Nebo for an equipment violation. And this is into November. The vehicle was slow to stop, however, stopped on the lot of Town Hall on South Miami. Contact was made with the driver, Parrish Elijah Isaiah Washington, who provided Social Security number to the deputy. The driver was found to be under suspension, was asked to step out of the vehicle. The driver put the vehicle in drive and took off. Another deputy, Malone, was sitting in his vehicle anticipating the driver may flee. Malone pulled out onto South Miami shortly behind the now fleeing vehicle. The suspect pulled away at a high rate of speed from Deputy Malone. By the time he located the vehicle, he had crashed into a tree and fence when it had turned onto Cooper, and the driver was fleeing on foot. The driver managed to elude the officers. The vehicle was inventoried prior to tow, and the suspect and the narcotics were located. Warrants were filed on the suspect for the above charges. It was determined that this was not a pursuit. The officers were attempting to catch up at a safe speed. So, I know you asked me about that particular incident. We will locate that. That's what that was. And as far as what the citations are for, I'll let you email you.
Be interesting, just include the breakdown and what they're for next.
Okay.
Report.
Yeah. And.
Yeah, before you escape.
I
I'm not on the safety committee, so I complete ignorance in some cases, but if you were to look at our community and the type of runs that we get, to me, 1,200 of them seems high. And that's just year to date, so it's gonna be year end more than that.
Yeah.
Is my estimate that I believe it to be a little high is for our community, is that correct or not? Is that just me not knowing?
Well, it includes everything, right? So, and then I don't know what the demographics are of the community exactly, but in terms of age, but as people get older, obviously more EMS runs and people.
So these include EMS.
This includes EMS runs.
Okay.
Averages to be
Did
about.
you respond with the ambulance? Okay,
So this is 60 to 70 of those each month are going to be
okay,
EMS runs.
okay, that
And
explains a
so if
lot.
that increases, obviously the total runs.
Okay, that makes sense then.
With the station being here, we have a lot of runs and, people coming to the police department, so on-station reports. And so another one of those, we'll go out with that for a report. They might be from North Bend, Miami, and so they'll come here for a report, and obviously we'll take that.
And that would go into these numbers.
Correct.
Okay, all right, that's good. I kind of just wanted clarification.
So I think that, what exactly is increasing? Is that kind of follow up to that? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I was kind of curious if you had to give a recommendation to the village, what area that is requiring the most need from you that might be able to be fixed, I guess.
Oh.
Is what I'm trying to say. Like if there was something we could do in our community that's unique to our community, what area would it be, if anything?
Well, the guys wouldn't like this, but I don't really think they're overworked, but that we're overworked. So I don't know.
Okay,
anything that we can do.
okay.
I think we're okay on that.
Okay, good.
I think we're paid a fair wage.
Okay.
But with that being said, there's always things we can improve on.
Well, I just want, are we having more than normal domestic issues? Are we having more than normal, assaults?
So fewer than, from my knowledge of the past. So the overdoses are down.
Way down.
Domestic violences are consistent, 1 to 2 a month. Assaults, consistent, 1 to 2 a month. And throughout the county, and I imagine throughout the state, and I imagine throughout the country, theft is the number one report of, reported incident. Those are consistent. Those are up from last month and the month before. So 4 theft reports is a little high. It's usually 2 or 1.
The next month it might only be 1.
There's 2 B&Es.
Yeah.
So there's a pattern there, right? So then it's getting to be the holidays. There's obviously some social constraints you could go into this, speculate about how it's happening or why it's happening, but there's obviously policy restrictions right now with government. But most of these are a lot of juveniles. We make a lot of juvenile arrests, take a lot of reports with juvenile suspects. For example, last month's report included 3 juvenile suspects for the state. That continues to be a problem. I guess if there was one thing to help with, I think would be to maybe come up with a comprehensive plan, if you will. I don't want to create more work for anybody, but to somehow tackle the juveniles. And I think every community battles juveniles.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I would say consistent draw for our attention is probably juvenile. But I don't think it's out of sorts or out of
whack.
Out of whack.
Okay.
Comparison. I think it's the same thing. And if I've been to Harrison Township meetings, the Anderson Township meetings, Miami Township meetings, and it's just the juveniles that create a lot of havoc. And they're generally delinquent.
Gotcha. I'm the mother of 2 boys. They're 12 now, so I get it.
They're occasionally delinquent.
The worst I had was a call to come up because my son had participated in toilet papering a house of a kid he thought was on his golf team, but they had sold the house to a Hamilton County sheriff.
Hopefully that could resolve the conversation.
It was, but it was a shock to me and a shock to Brand. Because him and his buddies all thought it was one of their golf buddies who had moved. Josh Snyder, and who the person that bought their house was the Hamilton County Sheriff. That was fun. That was a fun night.
And that's it, you know, have a little bit of
You
perspective.
don't get that with girls as much.
Oh,
There you go.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay.
There you go.
Any other questions?
Yes, no,
specifically? Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the introduction. Pleasure.
Work.
That's right.
It'll be safe.
Thank you too. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Stay safe.
Okay, moving on to the next agenda item. I've asked, Mr. Merkel to explain this a little bit. And, I had questions about the language, so Rob, would you give us a little bit of background on this ordinance?
We did this during a council meeting way back. I found a discrepancy in just the number. You
No,
know-
this was, what was approved back in December of last year was just the general fund, not all the other funds. And what happened is, thank God we caught this, because I sent last month the increase of the park fund to the county auditor. And she's like, by the way, I don't have your ordinance. So I got with Penny, she sent me the ordinance, and they said, well, that's only your general fund. And I went, so I looked at it. So this above here is what you guys already approved. That's general fund. So it's all housekeeping. So I added this, I sent it to Justin. This is what you need to prove is all the other funds.
The special and enterprise
Right,
fund.
right. What was happened last year was just a general fund. That is just a breakdown of the general fund up there. And I'm like, oh, and so we're good. I just need to fix it. You guys need to approve it so I can send it to the county. They missed it, I missed it, and I know what happened on the spreadsheet I had. I have tabs on the bottom, general fund, special funds. And this resolution only went by the general, and I wasn't at that meeting, so, you know, it's, thank God we caught it, we fixed it. And
Yes, it's an easy
It's on me
fix.
too, you're right.
Not a
But it-
catastrophe.
And the county didn't even catch it until I sent the park
They may not have
increase.
caught it at all. We
No.
didn't send it, so.
So,
So it's not the
Hope
general
like that
fund,
helps.
but you included the general fund so that this ordinance would fully
Right.
correct the old one.
right,
So, and that was my decision, yeah, I put all of it there, and just as a revision, so it outlines the total appropriation.
But the amount there is the same amount that was on the one we sent.
right,
Correct.
right.
I understand it.
What ordinance number is this going to be?
This will be ordinance 33/2025.
Justin and I talked about that, so we just, you want to suspend the rules or anything. So, what was this number again?
33/2025.
There's 2025. Okay, so at this point, if you have questions, you've already asked them. If not, I'd like to have a motion, to approve ordinance 33/2025, revising the amounts of appropriations outlined in ordinance 2024-14.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by, Ms. Bolton and seconded by Ms. Meister. Any further questions? Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Angeline,
Yes.
Ms. Meyer,
Yes.
Ms. Meister,
Yes.
Mr. Babel,
Okay.
Ms. Bolton.
And
Yay.
motion passes 6-0. And, now on the new business, Jeff, I'm gonna let you go ahead and you've been the one who's done the bulk of the work on this, so.
Sure. This resolution, resolution authorizing the mayor of the village of Cleves to apply for, accept, and enter into a water supply revolving loan account agreement on behalf of the village of Cleves for construction of Addison's water line extension project. This is just boilerplate, straight from OEPA. allowing them to create the revolving account, so funds can be dispersed and we can make payments as we work through the grant project. But it doesn't require any additional, money or funding from us.
What resolution number will it be?
This will be resolution 15-2025.
Are there any questions on this? If there are no questions, I would ask for a motion to approve resolution 15-2025.
I'll make that motion.
Motion is made by Ms. Meister,
Second.
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 Second by Mr. Babel. Any further discussion? Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Miss Angeline,
Yes.
Ms. Meyer,
Yes.
Ms. Meister,
Yes.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Ms. Bolton.
Yay.
Motion passes 6-0. And that will move us on to the administrator's report.
I'll keep this short and sweet tonight. First and foremost, thank you to all our residents for showing up and voting, especially those that supported our levy. Appreciate the committee's efforts and everybody that got the word out. As you know, we've worked for over a year on our model zoning manual with Hamilton County Planning and Zoning. We're now at a point where we've received the final draft of the model zoning code, and so the Board of Zoning Appeals and our committee is reviewing that. Timeline on that project is by December. We'll get that to our law director for review. We'll have a Q&A session with the Board of Zoning Appeals for any final changes. And then we're shooting for January, February latest to get to the council for review and adoption in March. So we're finalizing that project. It's been a long road. Had a Board of Zoning Appeals variance request that was submitted yesterday for the library. That'll be going to the Board of Zoning Appeals, but I met with the architect. They are considering a name change, changing it back to the Cleves Library branch. There's also just some setback variances. They'd like to go a little bit closer to the roadway than our setbacks allow. They'd like to reduce the parking spaces from what our current manual says. So I don't see any issues with those, but that'll be on the Board of Zoning Appeals agenda for the 20th. I've completed our annual insurance renewal and sent those documents off to USI for our 2026 general liability. Went through the schedule of all of our equipment and assets, changed values, had the employees in all the departments go through our Kelly Blue Book and just make sure that we weren't insuring at values too high, so our premium stays in line. We're good there. I've been working on the Christmas walk with Councilman Burns. We're working on just about everything Christmas walk related. So that's on track. We'll be having a few follow-up meetings and as we prepare for that. We discussed this already, but we were awarded the Hamilton County Mini Planning Grant last week. We're one of 2 communities that received that. It's $30,000. That'll go through a competitive bid process for an engineer to help us outline our streetscaping vision for the revitalization district. You know, that $30,000 is great, and that's going to help us have a plan. But ultimately, going through the model zoning code and then being a recipient of this Mini Planning Grant, we're positioned stronger than any other community for future CDBG grant award, which could exceed $1 million and support our initiatives in the revitalization district. So it's all good news. Last Friday, I attended a shared service summit with the county. We talked ad nauseam about the CDBG grant, Mini Planning Grant, just some things to be aware of. The Mini Planning Grant's gone next year. Hamilton County will not offer that. Afraid of that, it's come true. There's also consideration in the state budget to get rid of the state capital budget, which would eliminate a lot of grants and grant dollars that come down to us. Waterworks related, continuing our work with the Step Regionalization Project. Also just signed a memorandum of understanding and authorized construction for Jordan Road and East Miami River Road water line movement and extension. So part of that project, our water main currently runs through Miami Township property that they acquired for their Miami West Park extension. So our water main is gonna be relocated out of their, out of the park parcel along the roadway. So that's all new infrastructure that'll be going in. Additionally, they're gonna run, new water main up York Road, approximately 2,800 feet. And that'll capture, all those tie-ins from residents who currently don't have access to water. They'll also bring in fire hydrants, fire protection, so that'll increase safety for all those residents. Last thing is the gazebo project. Last meeting, you had authorized the motion for up to $1,000. We didn't get close to that. I didn't think we would. We're closer to $500 worth of supplies and lunch for the crew, but the gazebo's finished. The boards have been replaced. Everything's been painted, so that project is complete. That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
I've got two. You mentioned the thing about the grants. That means we're not gonna have a grant for the Christmas walk next year.
Not unless some other type of grant comes out now. So, you know, it's kind of planning for, it's critical that we find a way to generate some revenue.
And I forgot what the other one was. It was the first thing we talked about.
Model zoning code, levy, insurance renewal.
I forget too. Oh, yeah. Why are they, asking for a reduction in parking for the
I was gonna
library?
ask that too. 'Cause I feel like, how many spots?
So the way our current manual, we know our current manual is going away. Our current manual doesn't delineate from like a skyline open source parking lot to something. The new model code cuts that in half. So if this project kicked off after the model zoning code goes through, it would be cut in half anyway. I think based off of the square footage of their building, it says they have to have 26 spots. They can realistically only fit 23. So kind of based off of, you know, our community and how people get to the library currently, most of that's on foot. They don't utilize 23 spots there as it is. So that's the request. That's what's.
So it's not gonna be that much of a difference
They're gonna have 23 spots
versus,
versus 26 that are
oh,
currently.
so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and so they could
Okay.
fit them in, but they would be tucked in
Okay.
weird along that hillside.
Okay. I thought I was thinking of something bigger that would help with parking with.
No, I mean, that's their part. So, you know, they originally were going to build an auxiliary parking lot on the outside of Cleves. They're not going to do that now.
Okay.
They're either gonna sell that lot or use it for future development, which I think is good news for landlocked anyway.
Right,
If
right,
we want-
okay,
If we get another building there.
okay.
But yeah, they wanted to go bigger on the libraries. I think this is kind of a new initiative where they have these huddle rooms, breakout rooms. They're trying to encourage people to go there for meetings. It's
Okay.
more of a work and meeting space than just a traditional library.
Okay. So it's not that big of a deal.
No, it's,
Okay.
I mean, they're asking for 3 spots less than
Okay.
what the current manual says. And again, if the new manual goes through, they would only be required to have.
Okay. I thought it was gonna be something. Yeah, okay.
And it sounds like the way we're set up down there anyway, that our current parking restriction numbers are probably too high. For this new development coming in, they're probably gonna be asking for the same kind of consideration, unless we've got our new, code adopted by them.
Yeah, I know you've heard like revitalization district, you've heard all these
Right.
things. Really, this is a neighborhood business district, is how it's identified in the zoning code.
Okay.
And, you know, when we talk model zoning, it's best practices, whatever, you know, what most places use. You know, this parking spaces you may require at Fridays in Green Township is not the amount of parking spaces you're gonna require for Jeff Ruby's on 6th and Main, right?
Right,
And so that's the line of thinking, to reduce the amount of off-street parking required in our revitalization district, which in turn benefits us because it allows for more establishments to go in. It encourages that on-street parking, and that walkability, getting people to walk by other brick and mortars as they go to dinner and maybe stop into a boutique or grab a beer.
The parking's already tight down there. When one of the businesses have an event, I mean, there's no parking. So that definitely, as a business owner, is something to start thinking about how all this development will impact parking and people being able to park to get to where I am.
Right.
And it is a concern.
Yeah, sure, and I think that we're gonna have to make it, we'll see what comes out of the mini planning grant. But I would be shocked if there wasn't a recommendation that the village at some point tried to acquire a parcel of land and maybe make that a city lot, whether it's a P lot or not. And we'll assess that through the grant, through the engineers. But I hear where you're at, and I think, even adding Harrington parking, they say that adds like 30% more parking from just pulling up to the curb.
Is that the, like?
That's kind of where you pull it at a 45.
Is our street wide?
That's all part of the mini planning grant.
Okay.
So,
Getting there.
yes, no, but
Not for
that's
both
all
sides,
good
I'm
questions. Probably not both sides. It probably would just accommodate one side.
Any other questions? Okay, I've got my report to do, and it's pretty short. First of all, I want to thank the community on behalf of our council for passing the safety levy. I agree with you, Ted. I think that was, we really need to thank our residents for showing up. But we also need to thank our committee. Committee preservation is a hard one to say, Dale. Preservation for public safety and Cleves, whatever the final thing was. But that committee did a ton of work and carried the heavy lifting. They had a Facebook page that was regularly updated. They held 2 community meetings. They were taped and they were broadcast out to the community. We had a fantastic committee with 2 of our business people, Dennis George, okay, and Jackie Darwish were part of that committee. We had representatives from Westgate. That was Andrew Nixon and Nancy Nichols, and then you had downtown. You had Aaron Jennings. And when you consider the fact that they delivered to 97% of the registered voters in the village a door hanger, there was plenty of information out there. So they did a fantastic job. I know some talk about the narrow win. To me, it wasn't so narrow because of the difference between the previous 2 new monies, where we had almost 80% voting against, 51%. I would like to have seen it larger than that, but I'm very pleased with the result. And I don't think that would have happened without your hard work. And on behalf of the council, the committee, I want to thank you very much. And if any other council member wants to chime in on that, please feel free. So.
I don't have better words, but here.
The only other thing I got is I'm going to pass this out to the council members. And this is, if I seem a little groggy, it is because I am. I've sat through 6 hours of cybersecurity training. And while it was interesting, it was long. And so I'm going to pass out to each side a packet. I'm going to go through that packet. Pass that over, please. Justin has, and Rob has a little bit thicker packet, but you would, Justin, pass this one over. And, you're going to get the hemp. Pass that over, please. And, by the way, here's another one I wanted to give to you today, too. How many more? 2 more we got to get over there? 2 more. Okay, so at the top here, you've got a letter from the auditor of state in favor. And this is about House Bill 96. And I watched the North Bend meeting the other night, their council meeting, and every municipality, every township's going to sort of do it their way. But there's certain things we got to do. So I wanted to highlight those, and people in the audience, I think Penny's already passed those out. But just to go through it, we're a political subdivision, and we have to adopt standard safeguarding against cybersecurity threats and ransomware attacks. And that law became effective on September 30th, 2025. Just so you know, by July 1st, we have to have a plan in place. We got to have policies that are adopted by this council. So when we talk about cyber attack schemes, you know, what they look for is vulnerability. Okay, and they really spend a lot of time on developing plans. So I'm not going to go through every single part of this, but I would encourage you to look at that, because one of the things they emphasize is the fact that if you want to solve a problem, okay, try to make sure you assess what could be the problem first. And then what you want to do is, where are our vulnerabilities? Justin and I talked about this today. And actually, I didn't realize this, but he's already started putting some of these things in place. And our primary vulnerability actually is our water department.
That's what I would.
Okay. And so they spent a lot of time in this meeting today talking about different things and different ways that water departments can be shut down. Okay. And there's also the whole issue of, well, what types of steps and what type of policies would you do? In other words, if we had a cyber attack, how do you continue, you know, like you're supposed to, delivering services to the people? So a lot of this plan will have to be developed. And Justin, I don't know if you want to speak to this or not, but I know you might want to talk a little bit for the public, what you can talk about as far as different things that you've already taken a look at in the water department. You want to talk about that at all or not?
I can give a high level of just kind of where we're at, and there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. We did a full audit of all of our IT infrastructure over the last year, both here at the municipal building and at Waterworks. We've replaced a lot of our hardware, our switches. We didn't have firewalls in some cases. We've installed firewalls. We put antivirus protection and firewall protection on all of our endpoints, whether that's a credit card device or my laptop. So all of our ports are individually monitored and protected. We also we spent thousands of dollars in the Waterworks to create a cloud-based system where it updates every 5 minutes. It goes into a cloud. And that's protected by it's FIPS 4 data, so it's protected on like a government interface to cloud through Google Vault. So just redundancy and protecting our information if there is an attack, and preventing them from being able to get through. If somebody does get in, making sure that you have a monitored system where it can be shut out sooner than later. So that's where we're at. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, but we are aware of it. I've had meetings with our IT vendor, and so that'll be a winter project this year, and then the next to bring us compliant with law.
Do we make ourselves more susceptible when we try to do things which our consumers are really wanting us to do, allowing them to go online and pay their bill, and go online and use their credit card to pay their bill? I'm assuming that although we want to do that, that will make us more vulnerable.
And
Because
that's
we'll
why,
have all that credit card data online.
and that's why this particular flow chart I made for you, this came out of the training I went through today. They're talking about you got to have cybersecurity professionals. Honestly, we're not big enough to have the type of people that a school system may have,
Right.
or a big municipality. So you're going to have to really rely upon these trainings that I'm going through, Justin's going to be going through, and this IT person. You're going to see on here where it talks about security policies, and governance, one of the things they really emphasized was the fact that governance plays a significant role, your role as council members, as to the development of these policies. When you take a look at the center part where it talks about cyber threats, they can come from all different sources. When he talks about a cloud backup, one of the things they talked about today is if you do have an attack, okay, you want to make sure you don't go back online too quick. There can be hidden things that come back in and infect. So there's going to be a lot of work that has to go into this planning wise, hours spent. And when you talk about the technology that we use today, Linda, what you're talking about is paying things online. That's all technology. That's all vulnerability.
And that's what our consumers want,
It is what they want.
the convenience of it.
They do. And what we've got a responsibility to do, when you go back through the carriers, there's certain things we have to do within a specific time frame. Okay. And I talked to Justin today. They were talking about your cybersecurity insurance. Okay. There's actually companies out there that do that. Justin believes that our current insurance policy covers that, but we're going to have to make sure, because the one thing they said is it's not just internal. There can be internal threats, but there can even be threats to our suppliers, people that are supplying and doing business with the village itself. We've got to be able to make sure that that isn't coming from that, because it could be infected that way. And for example, Cindy, you do our payroll, correct? There's one of the areas they take a look at is they're saying, okay, what happens if they shut us down? How do we still make sure our employees continue to get paid? We got to have backup plans. We got to have different ways of doing things.
I think it helps us that our payroll is UAN now, right? So that will.
Oh, if it was paid,
Instead of using Paycor or Paychex.
Yeah. So all those things have to be evaluated. And if you go into the next 2 pages, this next page was pretty much the crux of what I sat through. And they're suggesting that we use this National Institute Standards and Technology. And they actually have, if I brought you everything today, you'd be walking out with a staff like this. But what they've got is, because we got to develop a plan, and that plan has to be well thought out, and we're going to get help, okay, in doing this. And actually, I'm going through SWOCA. SWOCA's doing the training, but there's also training that is through the Ohio Municipal League. I chose to go this route because it's free, okay, and they really were very, very good. But if you take a look at that little circle there, okay, and they have protect, okay, identify, recover, respond, detect. All those things are ongoing. And they said this plan has to be a continuous improvement plan. That once you build the plan doesn't mean it's the end of the plan. You got to be checking it, you got to be testing it, there's got to be training of your employees, and you've got to test your plan. So if you go on to the next page, okay, and like I said, there's many other pages here. One of the very first things that's going to happen is we're going to have to create an organizational profile. And I'm just going to read this real quickly for the public. Organizational profiles are used to understand, tailor, assess, and prioritize cybersecurity outcomes based on the organization's missions, objectives, stakeholder expectations, threat landscape, and requirements. The organization that can act strategically to achieve those outcomes. These profiles can also be used to assess progress towards targeted outcomes and to communicate pertinent information to stakeholders. Who are our stakeholders? Our citizens, the ones that use our services. They're our employees. They're our vendors. So they're all stakeholders. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have a current profile, and that's what they've asked us to do. If we don't have one, we need to create one. And then what we got to figure out is from there is what do we want that target profile to look down the road? And so if you take a look over on the right, They have what's called create and use organizational profiles. They've actually got 5 steps we gotta look at. What's the scope of the organizational profile? We need to gather the information about it. We need to create it. We need to analyze gaps and create an action plan. And we gotta have a plan to implement the action plan and update the profile. And it repeats. It's just a constant circle. So this is gonna be a never-ending process. If you take a look at the last page here, okay, these are all sort of the checklists. You know, if you're gonna look at identify, you'll notice they have an asset management. We've gotta have an inventory of every computer, okay, that we have and every piece of technology. We've gotta take a look at what does governance, your responsibility. We gotta take a look at what's our risk. And do we have a management strategy to reduce that? And when I talk about supply chain risk, what if we have an infection coming from one of our vendors? How are we going to deal with that? Now, I'm not going to go through every one of these things, but this is all part of the plan. This is the work that's going to have to be done. And the vast majority of it, I hate to say it, is probably going to have to be on the back of Justin, Rob, and me bringing you information as we develop it. Because it's going to take time, okay? And I just want you to be aware of that. It's coming down the road. You got to have everything finished. And the auditor of state, when they're doing their audits, like what Cindy goes through, they're going to be testing this. They're going to be taking a look at what we do, what we don't do, and we're going to be getting a report based on that because they've really cracked down. Evidently, since they passed this law, they're now getting the statistical. There's been all kinds of threats all across the state of Ohio. And we're going to find more and more.
Well, judging by the number of letters I received in the last 6 months, warning me that my information has been compromised. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Don't make
get
it
it.
worse.
Yeah, so they're telling even libraries have to do this, okay? Your libraries have to create.
Well, they're a county. They're a form of government.
So I don't have anything more on that. I just want you to know there's 4 more trainings I've got to go through. And hopefully by the time I'm through that and Justin and I talk about, we can bring to you guys examples of what we're looking at, because we're gonna have to turn it into the state. It's gonna have to be passed by you. And they said, and the one thing they said to let the council know is, even if we do this, okay, and other people fail in the process as part of our plan, our vendors, ultimately, guess who's gonna be responsible? Us. It's gonna come back on us. So the better job we do, the better off we'll be protecting our village.
I'm assuming that we do have probably a lot of examples that we can refer to from the municipal league for communities that have already established this kind of thing. We're not reinventing the wheel, are we?
There will be model policies that come out, but everybody's infrastructure is different, so.
Correct.
Yes, no, I mean, we'll steal any good work we can,
Yeah,
but
good.
it's still gonna require, site mapping of our endpoints and making sure we have the firewalls on our systems and the action plan itself. We'll get it done.
Something that's forever evolving and changing. If you don't get it the first time, you're gonna get it in the process.
And that's why they say it's got to constantly change, but multi-factor, what do we call it?
That's all multi-factor authentication.
Authentication. That is going to be a critical part of it.
I have to use that a lot. for
Isn't
work.
there a local waterworks that just had this problem and they can't read people's meters? They're asking people to estimate how much they've paid in the past, pay that until they get it straightened out. This is here, I think in Hamilton County, Middletown, sorry.
It's the reality of the world we live in today. I mean, there's no way to escape it. So we've got to work on getting a policy in place and a plan. And they said that plan will be constantly evolving. It's never going to end.
Well, it is important, but I am a little concerned about our timing here. So if there's anything else, if we're done kind of discussing that issue. do we need to move forward? I'm a little worried. I didn't realize how late it was getting.
Yeah, that's not correct time.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Geez,
No.
oh my God. Okay. I looked up at that and thought, oh my
And
God.
yeah, I'm done with this.
Sorry, my apologies.
I'm done.
I'm like, oh my
No,
God.
that's an hour ahead. So I'm finished.
Looking at the clock thinking, come on, Chuck, wrap
You
it
want to go
up.
on with your public safety committee report, please? Sorry, Linda.
No, sorry, Chuck.
I think it's Linda's turn now. We can go right here, John. Go ahead, Linda.
Did I miss something?
Yeah, you missed the one here who's trying to move things along.
Oh, Linda, I'm sorry.
I love finance can be on, I know we didn't have a meeting. but-
Well, yeah, there's not much. I did have a big thank you to the committee, which Chuck's already covered. I also wanted to congratulate our 4 council members who were reelected, 1 through ballot and 3 through write-it. The message got across and we should be covered there. There was no finance committee meeting. I thought it would not be very productive in light of us not knowing what was gonna happen with the levy. And the next 2 are gonna be changed. I wanna make sure Penny's got that and then it gets posted. Due to holidays, November 19th, it's the Wednesday after, it's the 3rd Wednesday of the month instead of the 4th. In November and December, November 19th and December 17th. Mainly due to, I don't think anybody wants to come in Christmas Eve. And the night before Thanksgiving, we might as well just be able to enjoy that evening as well. So that's all I wanted to say.
My turn?
Yeah.
All right, we didn't do committee reports at last month, so I'm going to go through last month and this month real quick and just touch on a few things. In public safety in October, we again discussed the curb located at Scott Street, North Miami, near Sprinkles that we had received a resident complaint about. Our discussions included ADA, the fact that ADA standards would not apply as the sidewalk ends on the south side of the corner of North Miami and Scott. It does not extend in front of or past Sprinkles. The curb is unusually high, but considering the Sprinkles have a seating area up to the corner of their property on North Miami Avenue and Scott Street, the high curb potentially acts as a deterrent to keep vehicles from hitting picnic tables in the seating area. So the safety committee agreed that no action was recommended. We discussed the park vandalism, and the cameras have been installed, and also the administrator had updated us that Chevron has granted permission for the village to run electric through the park. And once this is completed, there will be more lighting and permanent security.
That's long time coming, decades.
Sidewalk safety was discussed, and we touched on the fact that it's property owners' responsibility to maintain, replace their sidewalks on their property. Also, that this could possibly be something that property owners could utilize the Revive and Thrive Home Repair Loan Program for. And we discussed putting that on a village newsletter, probably in the spring before the weather starts to get nicer, as a reminder to residents. Our meeting this month, November the 5th, village administrator reported that all the employee CPR and AED training was completed. We received a $1,000 grant from our insurance company, and safety committee recommended using that grant money to purchase an AED for the park concession stand, and suggested purchasing the same type so that our pads would be interchangeable. The curb and hydrant painting throughout the village is in process. It will continue until the weather is too cold, then they'll stop and resume in the spring. There has been mirror installation throughout the village at intersections with obstructed views. So far, they've been placed at Spot Street, Westgate, Locust Street, Harrison Avenue, North Miami and Morgan, and Cleves Avenue in Harrison. And additional mirrors will be placed as deemed necessary.
Jerry, there's also, we ordered 3 more so we keep them in stock, but there's another one going at Blondo and Nami.
And as we identify areas, or if any residents call in with concerns, we will those.
I have kind of a concern that a meter, I don't think will help, maybe, maybe not. Kevin was witness, we were almost killed. I pulled down this side street here to turn left to head toward Westgate. And the parking there starts at the sign, 3, 4, 5 trucks, vehicles. It wasn't dark yet. So I looked, I didn't see anything. I went to pull out and somebody was flying, which is part of the problem, I think, is that they're speeding on North Miami.
There have been 2 of those mirrors installed along North Miami, and that is another of the side streets that it is difficult to see, and that might be.
Well, I'm just wondering if we
area.
could back the street parking up just a little. Because that would help too. They park right up at almost at the
Well, on
corner.
North Miami, because there's not a stop sign on North Miami, they're
Yeah.
allowed to park up
I
that.
know they are, but I was just wondering if
But it
there's
does,
a way
it
to
it
legally.
does hinder the abilities. That's the same problem further down, like pulling out on Porter Street. If I was to turn left on Porter several times, I've almost been.
I think we made this one way. So you can't pull out this way and there is clearer visibility there. So we forced people down and around. Because of this one
So
way
we
here.
could look at that as another potential placement area for another area. Have you
And
noticed?
maybe
the
if I
one-
go 2
Have
streets
you
down,
noticed,
like,
have you noticed the mirror on the pole as you're coming out Morgan from Westgate, if you're coming out Morgan, it's more for the other side of the creek, but there is one up
I
there.
haven't noticed.
So
I noticed it's got,
they're mounted high enough that people can't
I mean, it was
easily
clearly
visualize
my
them.
fault. I'm just saying, I looked and thought I was clear though. And I had to slam on my brake and,
I agree, it's hard to get out of there.
I mean, if they even just
So-
restricted the parking just
A
for
little
one
bit.
car back,
We can look
Yeah.
at that area as another potential area for a mirror.
they weren't.
Well, maybe I'll let that report.
Okay, go on, I'm sorry.
I'm on time limit. So we did discuss again the proposal for establishing a tornado shelter at CT Young, and after further discussion, regarding all the logistics of it and the pros and cons, the safety committee decided, that moving forward with this would not be feasible at this time.
So there's no tornado.
We, for months, we've not gotten a lot of, feedback or answers from the school, and then trying to figure out the logistics of who's going to be there, who's going to be responsible for the building, et cetera, and considering the liability, if we open it as that, and then someone comes down and we don't have it unlocked and they can't get in and something happens, we're liable. So there's a lot of logistics about it that we discussed, and we decided that at this time, that really isn't a feasible task.
Makes sense.
Haybank reported that Duke Energy has purchased the empty parcel of land at the corner of Cooper and Porter. There's rumors circulating, but there has been no clear definitive intentions of the use for that property provided by Duke. In regards to concerns about the Duke Energy substation on Mount Nebo, the village administrator has still been unsuccessful in getting return calls or getting any response from Duke. We talked about the e-bike regulations. This summer, there was a significant increase of e-bikes out on the road. The ORC section 4511.521, the operation motorized bicycles does address rules and regulations regarding e-bikes. Our village administrator discussed with Sergeant Fee, when the officers see kids out on these e-bikes, they will stop them, they will do some education with them. If need be, they'll have discussions with parents and give warnings, and then repeat offenders will be addressed as needed. We had a resident express concerns about vehicles running a stop sign at the intersection of Porter Street and Scott Street in front of her residence, and she was requesting a crosswalk to be placed there. We discussed that. And we decided no action to be taken at this time. The reason for that was, there is no sidewalk on the property on the east side of Porter Street, where she was requesting crosswalk be placed, and given that there's no sidewalk there, it's kind of hard to place a crosswalk. Also, we discussed that we don't have crosswalks painted on our village back roads, side streets. And if we do one and set a precedent, then we would need to follow through and painting them at every intersection throughout town. And our maintenance department doesn't have manpower nor the budget for a task of this magnitude at this time. So safety committee decided against that request. That is all, and the next safety committee meeting will be Wednesday, December 3rd at 7 p.m.
Any questions? Kevin?
I'm not working back yet. For Parks and Rec, we had, discussion on, park finances, there's an education on concerning the word profitability of the park. But really we're talking about, funds going in and going out and some of the bookkeeping we've been doing, to, reappropriate that. But, basically our revenues are up, but our expenses are up as well, including some of the capital expenses. We have an eye towards sustainability in general, including the events funds. But that is not assured yet. There was discussion of our special event for the 250, but current fund is $83. So that's going to take some actual work. Justin has lined up a potential fireworks guy. We discussed installing trees for the benefit of patrons of the park watching events. We consulted and approved expenses for those, including ones at the softball fields, and if it fit in, 3 as well next to the swings in the soccer area, not directly on the fields due to them wanting to be able to reconfigure the fields and for safety concerns. Trees, but still benefiting attendees. Let's see, we're working on potentially picking up the GWAC softball tournament if that's what that organization wants out of us. That's currently run at St. Ives. There was. The last thing I have is there's been a series of ultralight aircraft taking off from the park and buzzing by patrons. I don't know what actions we're taking on that, or if I think this note says that we needed to actually set up some kind of rules or ordinances on air traffic.
Are they flying over the soccer fields while kids are playing?
The point was they were buzzing.
After they're buzzing everybody.
Okay.
Between the buzzards and the, it's pretty dangerous.
That creates a potential hazard.
Yeah,
Because they're crashing.
It's, and it sounds like when they stop the acceleration, it sounds like they're coming down.
Right.
So, yeah, and then, especially when you're in the middle of the game and it's like natural to look up and then you get pummeled by the ball or something else. I think that it is the perfect place to do it. You want people to do it safe, but we did talk about, we tabled it to next meeting to figure out how we can restrict and regulate it. Maybe certain times. It goes on it's a backpack that you wear with a fan that's probably, I don't know, 72 inches circumference.
When I take it down to the aircraft field, that airfield down the street.
Privately.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Park. So, but I don't, that's up to the committee will make a recommendation. I don't think we have to prohibit it, but we need to restrict it to make sure it doesn't coincide with other, it needs to be scheduled. It needs to be scheduled. There's not sporting events going on to ensure safety, so.
That seems like common sense.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't think we can count on people coming. They're doing it.
Not so common.
Common sense was common, everybody would hate it.
So moving on to, Christmas walk. I don't know how much to actually report. We handled a couple of things. We've lined up different acts. I'm not on the right set of notes. Sorry, hang on. This one was a PDF. Where did it go? There we go. We have a series of acts booked. Jim Gillum performing the food trucks. Mike Davis will be doing Elvis 1 to 3. Bounce houses are secured. We talked about tent rentals to put next to the food trucks to accommodate people and provide rain locations. We may have food trucks. That's actually a piece of work that we definitely need to shore up. What was the update that?
Well,
Taco trucks.
you have Smash Burgers gonna be here. They're supposed to come to our next, parks meeting. So they're gonna be there. Getting an answer out of the taco cart is, or whatever that's called, nacho, whatever.
Not sure average.
I've called them multiple times. I've spoken to them. They told me they're definitely gonna be here. Their problem is they scheduled an earlier time at Cheviot. He was supposed to get back with me and coordinate that. He has not done that. He's gonna be in town here on Sunday. I will nail it down on Sunday. As far as the hippie pop, haven't got a hold of them yet. There's gonna be nothing food wise coming from Ronies, but we do have, Jerry is gonna do a special on pizza again. And as far as the other one, I didn't do anything because I didn't get an answer as to whether or not we wanted to look at a $1,500 minimum charge. That's what the other one was. So I did not pursue that because I wasn't sure we had the money to do that.
If we don't have food trucks, we may want to move the Boy Scouts and their hot dogs to the town hall then.
Yeah, I'm not saying you don't, but you should have at least two of your vendors should be there. The taco cart should be there and so should Smashburger. And Smashburger said they'd be there for 6 hours.
So it sounds like we need to shore up
At least
one or maybe two.
And I can search out other ones, but they all require some type of deposit.
When is our next meeting?
Monday.
17th?
Monday the 17th.
It's next Monday, isn't it?
Will there be an extra one before, or is this gonna be the last one?
We can determine,
I think we need another.
well, we absolutely, we always have a meeting a week before.
Which is the November 24th. So it's likely we'll have one on the 27th and then one on the 24th.
I thought December 1st.
We have one next Monday. don't we?
I'm happy to have.
Oh, December 1st, okay,
I'm happy to
that's,
have a meeting.
no, you're right, December
Pretty meeting
1st.
so, but it depends if we have stuff to do.
Okay, 11, 17, and 12, 1 for sure, right? And they won't both be parked, they're gonna be Christmas walk. The one on December 1st is all Christmas walk, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So Justin and I discussed merchandise. We're gonna order out for some glow in the dark, not glow in the dark, illuminated Santa hats, other illuminated items, flashlight and a yo-yo. We plan to either sell the extras or spread that over 2 years.
If there's anything that I can look for, from wholesalers, let me know.
I think just a bit, yeah, and I appreciate that. And next year for sure, just out of the essence of time, I think we had to mock this up the artwork, and, we actually just got the proofs back today, so I think we have to work by the end of the week to make sure we have it in time for the event. But yeah, definitely moving forward, if that's something you can help with, that would
Yeah,
be
for sure,
fantastic.
to get things at cost.
That'd be great.
Let's see, we came up with a couple options for t-shirt production. I don't know if you executed on yours. Emily has an option as
I
well.
left it with Emily, and she had a good plan.
So we'll get together back on that. I know t-shirts can be produced pretty quick. Hot dogs, raffles.
Are we doing hot chocolate at the town hall this year?
The hot chocolate, coffee, popcorn will all come out of the concessions trailer, which will be staffed by the park.
Okay, so then we're not doing anything at the town hall.
It'll be right outside.
Okay, just so I know, just so I can plan on
And on Monday,
space wise.
Monday we'll have all of that drawn out. So,
Okay. I just need to know for space wise.
yeah, we'll break that out more granularly in the park scene.
Okay.
And I'll just make it public here as well. Anybody who would like to contribute to the passport raffle system, any prizes, any age, please bring donations to one of our upcoming Christmas walk meetings, and we will portion those out. Again, this year the emphasis is on each kid getting something of some durable value. So maybe the passport's not going to be the hottest they've ever been, but they still need a showing.
And you're gonna leave them at the town hall, so I'm gonna be passing this out. That could be correct.
Where are they gonna turn their passports into?
That's what I'm saying, at the town hall.
I don't have a final solution for that.
We can talk about that
But
Monday.
we did decide to enforce, must either be present to win or come to Waterworks to pick it up. But that was the only decision.
Okay, well, we can discuss that Monday.
Okay.
Right. Anybody who still wants to make any effort, please come around. We still need time. That's all I got there.
Chuck, if you know how to get a hold of Diane Blanton,
I do,
she said that she'd be willing to help.
okay. I'll get in touch with her.
She said she'd be willing to help.
I guess the other public thing to announce is please enter our parade of lights. I think we're getting to a more acceptable number. I don't know if Jackie's made any progress on the Jeep community. I haven't heard from Gravel Raw.
On that, I do have two really cool, old restored, like Barney Fife police cars from the 50s. I mean, they go to DC and they take photos from the White House every year and they want to be in it. So I've given them a number, but they're going to decorate it and put somebody in the back. So there's some more for the parade there. I just don't want to throw out because he texted me today and I have pictures. We'll send anybody who wants them, but I'll get them whoever's numbers the point of
So I
contact.
actually emailed Emily today because I wanted to get on just to make sure I had signed up, and the links for the parade, they said access denied.
She keeps sending out the wrong one.
You're
It's my fault. I gave her the wrong link to start with, and that became the authority. Go on Facebook and click on.
I mean, I think I did, I was double checking and then I was like, oh, I guess maybe I didn't. So I don't know. So then I sent her.
Yeah, no. What we, for everybody's education, if you deal with Google Forms, you need to be careful to pass out the share link rather than the edit link. You can share the form to tinker with to people you want to collaborate with, but what you want to do is share the public. So that's what happened. That was totally my fault, and I just can't correct the error. But Facebook has to correct it.
Okay.
Like and subscribe.
Anything else, Joe?
No, please.
All right, there's no questions. We're gonna be going into, hopefully we'll be going into an executive session. So I'm gonna read the language, and then if there's a motion to go in, we'll vote on that. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22, Section G1, The council of the village of Cleves will convene an executive session during this regular meeting on November 12th, 2025, at 7 p.m. At North Miami, Cleves, Ohio. The purpose of the executive session is to consider the employment, compensation, contract of a public employee. The council will enter into executive session during the regularly scheduled meeting open. No official action will be taken in the executive session. The meeting will reconvene in open session afterwards. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Babel. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Angeline. Any further discussion? Penny, please call the roll.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Angeline,
Yes.
Ms. Meyer,
Yes.
Ms. Meister,
Yes.
Mr. Babel,
Yay.
Ms. Bolton.
Yay.
Okay, so we adjourn to go into that and at 9:10, and we need to take at least a 5-minute break.
That's where I'm heading to.
I got a jump start.